I'm Dan Scuff. I'm CEO of .NET Solutions. We're a systems integrator based in Windsor. We've been working with Azure now for about the last 2.5 years. So what is Windows Azure? I'm going to attempt to give you a very, very quick overview for those that haven't played with the platform before. In tech talk, it's a virtualized grid of compute, storage, and database resources delivered from a geo-distributed array of data centers charged on a utility-based pay-as-you-go model. Whew, it's a bit of a mouthful. Otherwise known as a global hosting platform, just in case your boss asks you on Monday. But I think to describe it as a global hosting platform is probably underplaying it to a certain extent. Cloud is big. I mean, it really is the 5th major revolution in IT systems. And the thing that's really strange is that we've actually almost gone full circle here and back round to the mainframe era, where we've got a massive amount of compute and storage that we're accessing on a time and storage basis. Now, any developer hopes that any application they build is going to do this. What typically happens when you're looking at hosting environments is that you buy them in chunks. The challenge that you have is typically your load is not necessarily going to go up in a nice way. You're going to have periods where it's rising rapidly, and you might also have periods where it's falling. With traditional hosting, you've often got too much hosting power at some points and not enough hosting power at other points. What we really want is a hosting platform where we can match supply and demand. That means that we've got lower capital expenditure to start with, we've got no capital laying idle, no screaming customers, and we can also dial down the amount of power as well as dial it up. So if we look at hosting platforms, they tend to fall into 2 general buckets. We've got infrastructure as a service, which is things such as Amazon Web Services, and infrastructure as a service is all about virtual machine hosting. You're still responsible for those virtual machines. Platforms such as Windows Azure fall under this bucket of platform as a service. And the great thing about platform as a service is that it's fully managed hosting. That means you don't have to worry about servers and operating systems. All of that is taken care of for you. So with infrastructure as a service, you get everything up to the virtualization layer. You're responsible for everything above that. With platform as a service, it will take care of everything right up to the runtime for you. So that means you can focus on the bit that's particular to yourselves and the bit that you really add value, which is your applications and data, which sit over the top of it. So if we look at the Azure platform, there's 3 key parts to it. We've got Windows Azure itself, which is the actual compute and automated services management. We've then got SQL Azure, which is basically SQL Server on-premise, but available in the cloud. And then we've got the Azure AppFabric, which provides connectivity between on-premise and the cloud, and also access control and integration with authentication providers. So I'll just very quickly drill into those different aspects. So Windows Azure, behind the covers, is effectively Windows Server 2008 R2 x64 host machines running virtual machines. It's pre-installed with the .NET framework, 3.5 SP1 or 4, but you can also run other applications on top of it as well, other frameworks such as PHP, Java. Effectively, if it runs on Windows, there's a very good chance that it will run on Azure. We've got full trust available to us, but at the moment we haven't got administrative access to those virtual machines. And then the clever bit, which is what makes it a platform as a service rather than infrastructure as a service, is this Fabric controller, which is effectively orchestrating the whole process for you. In terms of the servers or instances, as they're called inside Azure, we've got everything from extra small, which is a real simple server, right the way up to large, which is monster servers. We've then got 2 different kinds of roles that these instances can perform. We've either got a web role, which is effectively pre-installed with IIS. We've got support for subsites on that. We've got support for WebDAV. And we can have inbound on HTTP or HTTPS, obviously ASP.NET, but also fast CGI support to give you things such as PHP. The other half we've got are worker roles, and this is something more akin to Windows services. So anything that you need to do in the background, you can deploy on a worker role. We can have inbound on any port into one of those. We've then got Windows Azure Storage. So table storage, this is storage for semi-structured data. It's non-relational, but you can create your own relations within it. It's partition-based, so it's infinitely scalable. We can store tens, hundreds, billions of rows within table storage, and it's very, very low cost. The other half we've got is called blob storage. That's for storing files, effectively, so documents, images, anything like that. It's a folder-based, so very similar to a normal drive, and we can actually mount a blob store as an NTFS drive onto any of our instances. We can also enable CDN support, so that means that anything you put into blob storage, you can then automatically make available through Microsoft CDN that supports things such as Windows Update and their public-facing properties. Second key tenant is SQL Azure. Very simple. As I said, it's the same thing that you've got on premises, but available in the cloud. All we need to do is change our connection string. We can then automatically connect up to SQL Azure, and it will take care of behind the scenes where that request is actually directed to. So again, not having to worry about physical infrastructure. You just say, I want a database, here's my connection string, away you go. SQL Data Sync. This is it's possible to sync up data both from on-premises to SQL Azure, between SQL Azure, or from SQL Azure to a variety of different devices. AppFabric. Two key tenets to that. We've got the service bus, which is our physical connectivity, and the access control. The service bus is very similar concept to log me in or go to my PC. It's a NAT traversal system, so any of your applications can make an outbound call to the service bus. Another application somewhere else can make another outbound call to the service bus, and it takes care of all of the physical transport for you. So it's completely seamless, really, really easy to mash things together. Second part of it is the access control service. So this allows you to provide log on to your applications using any of the standard authentication providers that are out there. It will do all of the clever mapping for you. So it's really a case of just writing a couple of lines of code, setting up your access control endpoints, and away you go. You can also use this access control to secure your service bus endpoints. Finally, the platform availability. We can tell that Azure was designed in America because West Europe is actually to the east of North Europe, but hey, there we go. The one that you want to be targeting is North Europe, which is the Dublin data center. So, to get started, if you haven't already done so, download Visual Studio Web Developer 2010 Express, and then you'll also need to download the Windows Azure SDK. To get started, if you're using Visual Studio, just go New Project, select Cloud Project, run through the wizard, and then create ASP.NET role or whatever else that you want to add on to that. And that's it. Thank you very much.